The first thing that really got me was there's an area south of here by 5 hours by bus called Sihanoukville. And Sihanoukville is a beach area, very, very famous back in the 70s. The people would have to helicopter in. Beautiful, pristine bays and whatnot. And now it's a real strong tourist area for foreigners. And you go down there and you get a little guest house for 15 bucks and you rent a motorbike for $5 and you roll around. And at night they've got all these beachfront bars and restaurants set out, big bamboo beach chairs, and you can get an assortment or whatever, and it's $3. So you're sitting out there and you're having a glass of wine or you're drinking a 50-cent beer. You finish your pork meal and you've got your bones left on the table, and up comes a 9-year-old girl with her 3-year-old sister, and they're begging for that bone off your table. And that's the type of poverty I have just not seen before. I've seen people that are in need of food, but never to the point that they would beg for leftovers on your plate. And that registered in my mind for a long, long time. And I got back to the U.S. a while ago, spent a year close to my kids and my grandkids, and I thought about that, and I thought about my 30 years in the restaurant business, and I thought about if I have any talent at all, it's feeding the masses on very little. And so I started putting together the thoughts for Buckhunger.
With his own money, Johnny, along with some private donors, opened this restaurant in Phnom Penh.
Many of our kids have no adults, no supervision at all. And you'll see here in a minute that there aren't any adults at all that accompany these kids. Oh, she take it home. Oh, she's not going to give me. I was going to buy it for $6.
Johnny's trained a staff of 8 people here at the Phnom Penh restaurant, where each of them has learned an invaluable skill in cooking, in service, and in cleanliness. Each one of them can go and work in another job at a restaurant in Phnom Penh. Invaluable training from John Phillips.
Did she learn to cook here, or did she cook before she started this?
She learns here. Before she came here, she didn't know how to cook, but now she did.
It's extremely solid. When you get those skills and you get that level, you don't go down, you only go up. There's only one way to go, and that's up. All right, so this is the cooking area out here. And this is where all of our burners are. And we do all of our stir fry or grilling or barbecuing, they call it. And we have 7 different meals. 2 of them are soup-based a week. 2 more are noodle-based, and the rest are rice-based. And these are kind of recipes that we've worked with that the kids really like, and we try to balance somewhere between high nutrition and protein and something that the kids will totally consume. I'm interested in feeding just as much bulk to these kids as I am nutrition. You get too many vegetables in there, they push it away because they are not used to too much vegetable. They just don't have the opportunity. And so we stage here because the kids come in so fast that we want to serve them quickly so that they can turn over quickly and leave.
Each day, Buckhunger will feed up to 325 children. They've fed 35,000 children since their opening.
Every chair is full in 7 minutes.
If it were not for Buckhunger, many of these children would be continuing to go through the dumps of Phnom Penh in search of a meal every day.
I am well, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Many of the children living on the street turn to Buckhunger each and every day for a meal.
Some children.
Miền này tao này cho tao này tiếc thì ấp cháo. Nắng ấp dân thom nó bẹ sủa luôn.
So I do have one more little tiny...
In addition to feeding the children, Johnny noticed that a lot of the children had scars and bruises and cuts all on their feet, and a lot of them were barefoot. So he decided to put shoes on them. So Buckhunger is now doing a free flip-flop program.
Okay, you're gonna need a 6. There you go. That's what you need. We opened on December 4th last year to 4 children. And the next day we only had 7 children. Well, it stayed very slow, and all of a sudden I came up on a Sunday and we had 62 kids standing out front. And then the next day it doubled again. Now, as you can see though, after a couple of weeks, we started hitting 250, 260, 270, and now we're very, very consistent every day, right at 240 to 260. Last week we had our first high, 320 kids. And that all happens between 11 and 12:30. The real thrill of this whole project is watching these kids line up at that front gate and anticipate the next 10 minutes of their life. And they have definitely a look of hunger on their face, but they know what we do now. They know what to expect. So they're hungry for a lot of things that we offer, not just the food. The first thing that you experience is their hunger to wash their hands. That is part of their experience at Buckhunger. They know it's expected of them, and they are more than happy to please. And you can experience it very, very quickly at the wash stations. The next thing happens is that you see them shuffling a little bit on which table they're going to choose and which group they're going to be with. The ones that have been here many times, they come in with their hands clasped together. That means they all want to sit at the same table. That's either a family or a group of friends, or there's some connection. Other kids, they don't care. They don't care where they're placed. All they're interested is in that next 10 minutes of joy. At that point, they sit in anticipation. One of the things that I have to talk to my staff is I don't want them serving them too quickly. I want these kids to experience what it feels to sit in a clean seat at a spotless table and somebody else come and bring them food and beverage, bring them nourishment. And so that's the next thrill, which also includes the thrill of a little tiny kid that needs 3 chairs stacked up and then lifted and put in that chair. These kids get a real kick out of being lifted up and put in a chair. These kids aren't getting that wherever they're eating their food. They're getting something put on a plate on the floor, or they're eating out of a bag, or something they found on the street, but they're not used to being serviced. And that is a thrilling joy to see that happen. The next thing is the completion of the meal. How they grasp each other's hands and skip to the door when they're leaving, and skip down the street as if they're heading off to some birthday party. This all is this 10 minutes of happiness.